Recently, our president and his delegation traveled to the country of Guinea, Guinea-Conakry, at the invitation of President Alpha Condé. Over the years, Somaliland heads of states, ministers, and delegations have visited over 90 countries. In each one of them, we have received warm, friendly welcome and receptions. Red carpets, presidential salutes, friendship. Our neighbors in Somalia have decided, for reasons unknown to us, to sever relations with Guinea for having welcomed the delegation from Somaliland. Now the question why I ask myself is Somalia planning to sever relations with another 90 countries that have welcomed Somaliland? Is it planning to sever relations with Ethiopia, Djibouti, and others? We think this is a great disrespect to the president, who is very much loved by his people and respected by the rest of African governments, President Alpha Condé. It's a great disrespect and an insult to a head of state who cannot be given a dictation about who he can welcome to his country or not. President Alpha Condé does not need the permission of Shabab or terrorists or the heads of failed governments. And since Somalia is very expert in terrorism, I'm asking myself, are they inventing a new form of terrorism? Diplomatic terrorism? Political terrorism? This cannot work in Africa. Heads of states are sovereign and need to be respected as such. The world considers us to be still part of Somalia. When we united with Somalia, Somalia was one country. Today, Somalia is fragmented. Somaliland is intact, but former Italian Somalia is fragmented into mincemeat. Who speaks for Somalia? There is no country known as Somalia. It's little fiefdoms and little warlords who control sections of it. Who in their right mind would reunite with a failed state like Somalia? And for the record, Somaliland respects the territorial integrity of nations. We don't believe in fragmentation. We don't believe in secession. We don't believe in splintering a nation. Borders must remain as in the Constitution of the African Union, as they were at the time of independence, like Somaliland. And the only just thing to do is that since there is no Somalia, no intact Somalia, no government in Somalia, when Somaliland has been peaceful for 28 years, that's a long track record. There is no going back. There is no reunion with Somalia. We need to have dialogue to establish good neighborly relations, and Somaliland, from its position of strength, is ready to dialogue on how we can turn our region into a peaceful region. We're willing to dialogue, and as the special envoy of Somaliland for the peace dialogue, we're ready to talk to Somalia anytime about establishing peace and neighborly, and I will repeat, neighborly relations as two separate independent nations. Somaliland will not be dictated to. Somaliland is not part of Somalia. Somaliland is not part of the federal or so-called federal government of Somalia. Somaliland is a sovereign country, and the international community needs to come to terms with that. I am going to give you this because, gentlemen, this is the Independence Declaration of Somaliland from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who is still alive today. This is history. This is fact. You cannot change it. I cannot change it. Somalia cannot change it. To prove Somaliland's independence, this is the congratulatory note from the United States of America by the Secretary of State of the United States of America, who sent it on the 26th of June, 1960. You're congratulating the Somaliland government on the achievement of your independence. Yeah, on the achievement of your independence in 1960. So when people say Somaliland wants its independence, they don't know what they're talking about. Somaliland has always been independent. And I have also added this to show you French Somaliland, Djibouti, British Somaliland, and Italian Somalia. That's how the territory was at the time of independence. And gentlemen, I am happy to answer some questions if necessary. I will give you this as a reference, and my colleagues and the Minister of Health, who I should have introduced at the beginning, and I hope you will forgive me for this oversight, are here. We're here on a goodwill, not only for Somaliland, but for the entire Horn. We must be wise. We must build our nations, and we must bring peace to our Horn of Africa. We cannot spend all our energy on fights and weapons and killing. We must learn to build and grow. We must learn to improve. We must reach the development that other nations have reached because of peace and stability. So I thank you for having given me this opportunity to explain the position of my country to you.